Hi, welcome to Now Showing. I'm Atika Farooqui. Rumi had said, as you start to walk on the way appears. This week, many people made many new ways, new paths and new bridges. A film this week tries to change the concept of an everlasting relationship, and the actors talk vehemently about it. On the other hand, producers tell us just how difficult it is to put all their money and might in a project that they fear you may discard like this. Still, the passion continues. All this and lots more. Let's start with the headlines. A Thursday is a well-performed, taut thriller that stands on morally shaky grounds. After giving her career's best performance with Gehraiyaan, Ananya Panday reveals how working on that film changed her personally. And we talk to veteran producers Sidharth Kapoor and Nikkhil Advani on the fears of being a producer. Let's talk about A Thursday that releases this week. A Thursday is a day-long face-off between a preschool teacher and the Mumbai police. A woman disgruntled by system failure takes 16 toddlers hostage in a bid to talk to the Prime Minister of India. Let me not spoil anything for you, as a little more information will make you grudge at me later. This taut thriller that flourishes on chaotic choreography, very well performed by Yami Gautam, Atul Kulkarani and Neha Dhupia, seems like a spiritual successor to Neeraj Pandey's A Wednesday, which was again about one man taking the city Mumbai at ransom in order to wake up the sleepy system and make them see the plight, the misery of the middle class. Director Behzad Khambata starts off with happy visuals. A South Mumbai luxurious tech-filled house owned by a successful high-profile lawyer. His fiancée, who smiles a lot, is a compassionate, jovial, dedicated caretaker of 16 children while their high-profile parents leave for work. They seem like a beautiful couple who respect each other, but there are a few attributes of this woman that the man does not know of. She has a gun, thinks and acts as fast as a cop. She's hiding a pain behind those ferocious eyes. Alongside Yami, there is Atul Kulkarni playing a senior police officer Javed Khan, Neha Dhupia playing his boss Catherine Alvarez. There is a pull and push of a situation between these two as well, which is a great sidetrack. The problem lies in it being on shaky moral grounds, a problem with every vigilante protagonist film. Taking 16 toddlers hostage in every way is morally, ethically and legally reprehensive, no matter how good the cause is, and in this case, the woman in question here, who undoubtedly wants to bring the wider perspective and the picture here of her problems, a social injustice she wants everyone to feel as deeply as she does. Can she and must she do this to find a solution to it? Would she not be compared to a terrorist or a person who took school kids hostage in the US? That's the only thin line that the producers and the writers walk on here. As a thriller, it's neither overwhelming nor underwhelming. One ends up getting the message, really. Forgive the massive protocol violations and the impossible things that the movie makes possible. After all, they do make a hypothetical story to drive in the point, same as A Wednesday did when they talked of corruption. Yami Gautam takes away the cake here. Ananya Panday, who is currently the talk of the town, the young actress is getting praises from all quarters for her performance in last week's Gehraiyaan. My colleague Vishal Chatkara caught up with Ananya virtually and got her talking about working in this Shakun Batra directorial, and also got her to spill some beans about the questions whose answers we all want to know. Listen in.
Ananya, first, big congratulations for that brilliant performance in Gehraiyaan. Everyone is talking about the movie and about Tia, the character that you play. Of course, you all must be having great expectations, but did you expect such a positive response from the film?
I mean, we just wanted to tell our story as honestly as possible. We wanted to dive into the complexities. We wanted to, not compromise the story in any way. And we're just happy that people are relating to it and people are loving the film and, discussing it.
Yeah.
That's most important. And I think it's the biggest reward for us.
Tia is an important character in the film. How easy was it for you to get into the skin of that character when you started preparing for the role? Do you remember either a scene or that moment when you realized, or you came so close to her and you got that feeling that, okay, now I understand who Tia is?
Honestly, I never feel like she came or she went. I always felt like she was a part of me somewhere, some facet of my personality, some extension of my own personality. We are very similar, but we are also very, very different. I feel like she's way more mature than I am. She's way more restrained than I am. She has a sense of composure and therav, and she thinks before she speaks. And, a lot of her life depends on her relationship with Zayn. And in those ways, we're quite different from each other. We started preparing for the film almost as soon as we signed the film. We started readings, as soon as we started, and then the pandemic hit. So we couldn't shoot, we couldn't start shooting for 4 or 5 months. And before we started shooting in Goa, we went 10 days in advance, and we had a full pack schedule of acting workshops, intimacy workshops, yoga classes, readings, everything together. And maybe the moment where I felt closest to Tia was somewhere in the workshops. Shakun made us do this exercise where he made us read the scene just once, and then he said, now do it yourself. Now don't try to remember the dialogues. If you remember it, good, but then come up with your own dialogues if you don't. And in there, I found some choices that I was making very similar to how Tia would react and not how Ananya would react. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm getting closer to her. And then Shakun actually incorporated some of those things in the actual scene.
So that, is it correct to say that acting means reacting? But you're not just reacting to the co-star, but you're also reacting to the situation.
The circumstances,
so,
exactly.
Were you daydreaming while preparing for this role?
No, I think because of the environment that we were in, it was extremely conducive because we were in so many workshops together. We were constantly talking about the film. So we were constantly creating. All the conversations kind of revolved around our characters and the scene the next day and what we did in the scene today. And I think something that I realized very early on in this film was the importance of just being present in the moment. We often go into scenes overthinking that I will do this and I will do that, but that actually hinders what you are going to end up doing in the scene. It becomes limiting if you are like, oh, I'm going to move over here and I'm going to sit down at this point. You kind of have to react spontaneously, and that's why every take is also different. And everything from the set, from the way it was shot, the film helped us create rather than limit us.
Now we have seen the film, and trust me, I really want to say this to Tia that, it's okay. It was just a bad experience of life. Maybe a spoiler here, but that guy was really not worth it.
Yeah.
Are there any qualities or similarities, like you said you have? What are the qualities or similarities that Ananya Panday, the actor or the person, shares with Tia?
I think in a sense of innocence is similar between Tia and I. She's extremely loyal in her relationship, and her love is coming from a very pure place. And so I feel like I possess those kind of qualities. She's a true friend. But then she also has some qualities which are not so good, but which I also have, where she can be a little insecure sometimes, or she overthinks a lot, or she gets a bit dependent in the relationship. So even I sometimes can be like that.
Oh, I thought you say the quality of maybe trusting people blindly.
I used to be like that. I think I've become a little better in that sense, but I'm quite an open book that way. I trust people quite easily. That is true.
We'll talk about that open book, but Ananya, you reportedly said that you have given 30 to 40 takes for a shot while working on this movie. How do you think that a practice like this will help an artist with her craft?
I think every director is different. Shakun, when he asked us to, and 30, 40 is a bit of an exaggeration, maybe like 20. But when Shakun asks us for more takes, it's coming from a place of exploration and not from a place of confusion. He knows exactly what he wants, and he believes in his actors so much that he wants to push us to reach our true potential. And I feel like as an actor, that's the best thing. If you're getting to play, if you're getting to give as many variations as possible, you are also going deeper into the performance yourself. So I took it as, a chance to just play and discover as well. So I think we associate too many takes with it being bad, but actually it can be so helpful.
How comfortable were other actors when it comes to giving so many takes?
No, I think everyone understood this. And that way, Shakun, he knows still where also he should push his actors. He, in the emotionally intense scenes, he wouldn't take more than 3-4 takes. And if he would get it, he would get it. I think it was just a point of seeing what else you could do, how far you could go. So yeah.
So Ananya, when are you most happy while making a movie? Like which part of the movie making process you enjoy the most?
I think between action and cut, when actually, I think right after cut, right after you have had that honest moment and you kind of snap out of it, and like, okay, wait, I wasn't myself in that moment. And I guess when the director's happy with the performance that you've given, because he's written the character, he's lived with it for so long. So to be able to do justice and to bring something of yourself to that is the best feeling for me.
So that means you love a movie set.
I love being on sets. Like even when we pack up, I just love sitting and watching the monitor when others are performing and observing. Like I watch it as an audience there.
Then what does one need that will make Ananya Panday to sign their movie? Because 4 films in 3 years, not a very good...
But that's because of COVID. That's because of the pandemic, na? Also, I mean, but honestly, I would not change the way that my journey has been so far. It's been very fulfilling already, and I can't wait for more. But yeah, I think COVID kind of caused that little bit of a delay for everyone, not just me.
Let me bring the N word in the conversation. Most of the time, star kids are criticized of having it easy. But watching you perform in this movie, I would say that you have inherited the acting genes from your dad. Do you think so?
I hope so. I mean, he's a great, great actor. And, this whole thing about shying away from who my family is, I don't want to do that because I'm really proud of who my father is and the career that he's built for himself. And I feel like this nepotism debate, it's not going to end anytime soon. It's been going on forever. And by me saying something, it's not going to really change the conversation at all. And it's good to question things in life. I'm a person who questions everything. So it's, as long as it's a healthy debate and a conversation. But I know that I've wanted this my entire life, and I want to work hard, and I want to be honest and sincere to my work and prove myself.
So now, the other question, I think, which will break hearts of many people, but is Ananya Panday single?
I said I'll be true in my films. I didn't say I'll be true in real life and interviews.
Okay, so your friend and your co-star from Khali Pili, Ishan Khatter, who keeps complimenting you on Instagram, what was his first reaction when he saw Gehraiyaan?
Oh wow, he was very taken in by the world. He was very involved in the world, and he's an actor himself. So he really loved all of the performances, and he spoke to all of us individually. But he's very kind and encouraging, and he always has been.
In November, you wrapped up the US schedule of Liger, your next big screen outing with Vijay Deverakonda. It's your bilingual movie that you shot in Hindi and in Telugu.
5 languages.
Okay, 5. So how easy was it for you to mouth lines in a language which you were not familiar with?
My character's from Mumbai in the film, so my character predominantly speaks in Hindi only in the film.
And how was it working with Vijay Deverakonda? He is this massive star.
He's a massive star, but he doesn't let anyone feel that way, because he's extremely down to earth, and, he's very different from the personalities he's played on screen. So I find that very interesting.
And, Ananya, after Gehraiyaan, so what type of roles are being offered to you right now? Is there a director now that you want to collaborate with?
I really want to work with Sanjay Leela Bhansali, sir, and I've always wanted to. Every time I watch Devdas, I always end up crying. I really want to work with Zoya. I want to work with Karan as a director, because Rocky or Rani looks like so much fun, and his films are like comfort to me. I want to work with Neeraj Ghewan, sir. So I have a long list of directors, and this is just the beginning. So I'm hoping, to keep evolving and working with the people that I've admired.
Ananya Panday, thank you so much and best of luck, and please keep surprising us.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope I do.
Thank you.
Heading for a short break. After a while, we meet up with Sidharth, Roy Kapoor and Nikkhil Advani, 2 producers whose collective experience is more than 5 decades in production in the film industry. They have teamed up for Rocket Boys. They talk about their experience. Welcome back. Let's talk about Rocket Boys and the producers who made it. Siddharth Roy Kapoor is managing director of Roy Kapoor Films and was formerly the CEO of UTV Motion Pictures and the MD of the Walt Disney Company in India. He is known for films like Dangal, Haider, Shahid and many more. While Nikhil Advani is the founder of ME Entertainment and he has made films like Kal Ho Na Ho, Salami Ishq, Lucknow Central, Airlift, D-Day and many more. They got together to make Rocket Boys that is being talked about for its love and dedication to science, nuclear energy, as well as a scientific attitude towards the world. I talked to the duo that has a collective experience of 50 years in production about the fears and lessons of being producers. Tell me one learning that these many years of production has taught you.
That makes us feel very old. I can speak when I say that. But I guess what this many years of production teaches you is that you might have thought you've learned all the lessons you had to learn, but there's a new one that sort of you come across every day, which is the torture and the privilege and the thrill of being in production. So I think there's always a new challenge that you might never have anticipated, but that's what keeps us going, I guess.
Nikhil, can you elaborate a little more than that?
No, I don't want to elaborate at all. It's as if Sid has read my mind. I was thinking about the same thing. It's just that I think he has just said it better. So it's absolutely, he's absolutely right in the sense that every day you feel that, oh wow, 40 years of, or whatever, 25 years each of experience, and boom. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Actually, and though Siddharth Roy Kapoor still has that charp of MNC culture that he has witnessed in the last 20-25 years. He's been with Star, various networks, and incidentally, I was also a part of the same network while he was there. But Nikhil, you with all this beard actually look more like a producer, like an Indian Desi producer, these worn out looks and all. What's happening?
Where do Indian producers look like this? Yeah, the Indian producers I have worked with, I have been really lovely Punjabi old men with who are balding, right? So these are the kind of for me it's brand new when I get into my office and I have my two partners. One is my sister, one is Madhu, and so they don't look like those two, Yash Johar and Yash Chopra at all. So it's the world. I mean, yeah, and this is I'm getting ready to start shooting Mumbai Diaries. So I'm getting into that zone.
Wow,
I'm trying to show everybody that I'm working very hard. I don't have time to shave, trim my beard, nothing. Yeah.
It's a cultivated hard look.
It's positioning up. I have a lot of work. Don't mess with me.
Don't disturb me.
Okay, now listen, everybody who's watching this video or this show, let me tell you, there was a point in time when Sidharth was with UTV, there were these 5 to 6 years, particularly, so many films from UTV had actually represented India at the Academy Awards, and either they were produced or distributed by UTV. So Sidharth, you bring along not just experience in production, but also the experience of churning out great movies. Tell me, what is a good film or a good web series?
I think our primary purpose is to entertain, right? And if we're able to entertain, that means that should translate into either box office numbers, the appreciation of the audience. All those things, I think, are what classify you as something that has entered the popular culture. So for me, at least, a benchmark is that has whatever one has created been embraced by an audience as wide as possible? Or has it reached out to, if it's a different kind of a product that was designed for a more limited audience, has it been able to reach out to that audience and make them inspired and entertained and engaged? So for me, it's really about that. If a second layer to that happens to be that they get inspired, that their eyes open up to something new that they might not have thought of before, etc., that's great. But I think we are entertainers, and this is show business. So there's some show and there's some business, and it all has to come together in order to be able to be called a success.
If I told you that what are you doing, Nikhil? I'm making a show about two scientists. One is called Dr. Sarabhai and the other is called Dr. Homi Bhabha. And one was the father of space research, the other father of nuclear energy. You would just say, "Oh, ये documentary बना रहा है." And
Correct.
I think that given what one of the first things that we all did with Abhay in the writing room, right? Sid, myself, the other team that was researching and writing was that listen, how do we make this entertaining? Because people are going to not want to watch really two fuddy duddy old guys doing science. The lovely thing, Atika, I was talking to Abhay the other day after the trailer dropped, and he said, "Sir, you don't realize that 75% of the trailer is only episode 1 and episode 2.
Okay.
The remaining 6 episodes is still left."
Wow.
He's right. He's true. It's true. So I mean, so much material of their lives were so rich, right?
Yeah.
So the idea was that how do we make this tell this story, which is a very important story to tell, but say it in a way that people are going to not only be able to sit with their children, but be able to sit with friends and call up and have conversation about, have you seen this, have you seen that, hear the music is very R.D. Burmanish, you know
Yeah.
so it is, Sid is absolutely right.
The pain of parting is nothing to the joy of meeting again, said Charles Dickens. With the hope that we see you again next week, warm goodbyes. Take care of yourself and watch good cinema. Follow us on our social media. See you soon.